Ukrainian forces targeted a structure occupied by Russian troops using FPV loitering drones. Following this strike, one infantryman, visibly injured, exited the building and attempted to take cover in a nearby shelter. However, Ukrainian reconnaissance drones monitoring the area from above continued to track the infantryman. As soon as he entered the small structure, the drone operator executed a rapid precision strike, resulting in a powerful explosion that effectively neutralized the target. Despite the powerful explosion, the infantryman survived the strike. It appeared that, for him, this may have been a rare moment of fortune amid the chaos of battle. The Russian infantryman quickly exited the shelter and took cover beneath a nearby supply tank. The reconnaissance drone maintained visual contact, continuing to monitor the soldier's movements closely. Shortly thereafter, a second soldier also took cover beneath the tank. It was a critical moment for the loitering drone operator, who launched a precise strike toward their position. While it appeared the soldiers had narrowly escaped earlier, their brief fortune only delayed the inevitable. The situation left little room for escape. The Ukrainian drone operators remained resolute. They advanced on the soldiers' location with precision, executing calculated strikes. Their objective was to fully eliminate the threat posed by the opposing forces. To achieve this, they launched several additional FPV loitering drone strikes in rapid succession. Powerful explosions followed each impact. The question remained, had the targets been neutralized? Finally, one of the drones closed in and successfully engaged the remaining enemy. At last, the opposing infantry had been fully neutralized. This is the Ukrainian FPV drone unit, makeshift, detecting opposing forces moving in light vehicles. The unit is closely tracking their advance. Mine had been previously placed in the area, and as the convoy enters the zone, detonations begin. Confusion spreads within the convoy as Russian soldiers attempt to retreat rapidly in their vehicles. FPV loitering drone operators then begin pursuing the retreating infantry. Within a short time, the FPV drones start engaging the enemy personnel. However, a motorcyclist and an infantryman mounted on an ATV from the opposing convoy continue their escape. Reconnaissance drones maintain close surveillance, tracking their movements in real time. Shortly thereafter, the ATV strikes a mine, bringing it to a halt. The motorcyclist is then targeted by a loitering drone, resulting in a powerful explosion that neutralizes the infantryman. While Ukrainian forces were conducting reconnaissance in the area, they identified new enemy positions. Once again, opposing forces were advancing toward the front lines using light vehicles. However, their advance was quickly halted by FPV loitering drones, which engaged the targets with precision and effectiveness. Here is one of those moments. Russian soldiers are seen advancing on motorcycles equipped with sidecars. Suddenly, an FPV loitering drone appears in their path. A powerful explosion follows, resulting in the neutralization of one of the soldiers. The remaining two are visibly stunned by the sudden impact. Another opposing infantryman is seen advancing rapidly on a motorcycle. A Ukrainian-operated loitering drone launches a swift and precise strike on the moving target. The infantryman continues forward briefly but is ultimately unable to proceed due to the impact of the drone's intervention. Russian forces are rapidly advancing toward Ukrainian positions using armored vehicles. The roar of engines and the clatter of tracks echo through the area, signaling a growing threat with each passing second. Ukrainian soldiers remain in position, eyes locked on their drone monitors. They wait patiently, every detail prepared. The approaching convoy consists of 2 tanks, an armored personnel carrier, and an MTLB loaded with supplies. From a distance, the Russian tanks begin firing, their cannons releasing shells one after another. One of the tanks deploys a smokescreen in an attempt to obscure its position and evade detection. But Ukrainian drones see everything from above. The enemy is advancing. And then the moment comes. The Russian convoy is now very close. The first Javelin missile is launched, cutting through the sky with precision. It strikes the tank directly, halting the convoy in its tracks. In a moment of chaos, The crew abandons the damaged vehicle and rushes toward the MTLB for cover. But Ukrainian infantry are already preparing the second javelin. Another missile is launched, a direct hit. A powerful explosion follows, shaking the battlefield. The battle is far from over. Ukrainian drones are launched into the sky. One drone releases a precision-guided munition directly onto the armored personnel carrier, and explosion follows. An FPV drone then dives into a nearby tank. The APC erupts into flames as its internal ammunition detonates in a chain reaction. Fire and smoke fill the sky. The remaining vehicles are swiftly targeted. A UAV drops an explosive device onto a fuel truck, igniting a powerful blast that triggers its smoke deployment system. The Russian convoy has now been completely neutralized. A large-scale coordinated operation was conducted by the 33rd Separate Assault Brigade of the Ukrainian Armed Forces, in conjunction with the Air Force, near the settlement of Teatino in Russia's Kursk region. The operation featured a multi-layered and precisely executed series of strikes, utilizing various platforms in a synchronized manner. Intelligence reports indicated the presence of opposing forces in forested zones, at river crossings, in building complexes, and in open terrain around Teatino. It was also confirmed that elements of civilian infrastructure were being repurposed for military use, with several temporary command and supply points established near the village. In the initial phase of the operation, reconnaissance drones identified enemy infantry groups advancing through open areas and along roadsides. Precision drone munitions were deployed on these units. Strikes carried out using Mavic and Vampire-type drone platforms inflicted significant losses on the opposing infantry formations. In the second phase, military vehicles and equipment concealed within the forested area near Teatino were targeted. Armored personnel carriers, supply trucks, and technical support vehicles positioned in these zones were identified through drone coordination and subsequently engaged by artillery and mortar strikes. Intense fires erupted in the area following the series of explosions. In the third phase, river crossing points and pedestrian bridges utilized by opposing forces were targeted through high-precision airstrikes conducted by the Ukrainian Air Force. These strikes not only disabled key infrastructure but also impacted personnel present during the crossing. In the final phase, various buildings and trench positions used by the opposing side were engaged using FPV drones. These drones were directed toward individuals stationed inside or near entrances to maximize operational effectiveness. Leveraging low altitude and agile maneuverability, the FPV drones successfully reached and impacted units concealed behind trench lines. As a result of this coordinated and multi-layered operation by the Ukrainian armed forces, opposing units suffered significant losses.